I would like to welcome all of you who have joined us today, whether live in person, as you can see behind me, or via Zoom, for this, the 11th presentation in our Fall 2021 Sustainability Research and Practice Seminar. My name is Bradley Flam. I'm the Director of the Office of Sustainability here at Westchester University. And we are honored to co-sponsor this series with the Office for Research and Sponsored Programs and the Scholarly and Creative Activities Committee of Westchester University Sustainability Council. We have had an excellent series of presentations this semester. We are very much looking forward to today's presentation by Professor Scotty Reifsnyder. And don't forget, we have just one more in this series, 2 weeks from today on December 1st with Professor Anita Foman from Communications and Media. Having said that, I am going to stop talking and pass the digital floor to our speaker today, Professor Scotty Reifsnyder. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Brad. Hey, everybody. Hey, thanks for letting me do this. I have a slideshow I'm going to share with everybody here. I'm going to attempt to go full screen, but I think it ZoomX kind of funny when I try to do this. Let's see what happens. Oh, is that working? Okay, great. All right, it's working. Yeah, Brad, so thanks for inviting me to do this today. Creative collaborations, graphic design for sustainable advocacy is the title of my talk today. And I'm really going to focus in on the course that I teach here with seniors in the fall. It's called Art 400 Special Topics. It's a design for the social good class. That'll be like where the bulk of my talk will be about today. So let's just get into it. What that course is, special topics designed for social good. Students will leverage unique capabilities of a design as it applies to design for social change or design for social good. My students will make a substantive contribution to the social dialogue through the research and development of a pair of comprehensive self-authored projects that will inform and challenge a specific issue. Effective solutions will be based in the student's own empirical research or proper citation of published research. So what's really fun about the class is, and very interesting for me, is that the students come to the table with many different ideas of social issues that they want to highlight. And then there's just about a month's time where they have to go out and kind of bring back, do research and bring back information and data to support their kind of direction of where they want to take their projects. And I'm going to show you some student work here in just a moment. Just like my own background, right before I got hired as an adjunct instructor at Westchester, which is like 3 years ago now. I'm full-time now, but like my first year, I came on as adjunct. It was the summer of like 2018, I think, where I was approached by a studio in San Francisco to kind of help them create an identity and look for a project called the Tipping Point Family. And what that was is San Francisco, the Bay Area, has a real issue with financial inequity amongst families. And so what they did is the Tipping Point, what they do is they support, they're a nonprofit that brings awareness, education, and support to people, like families that are basically like, due to the inequity, the financial inequity in that area, like you could have two parents, both parents working, both parents college educated, but because of the high cost of living, they might be in a situation where they're living in a shelter, or they're living in a very dire situation just because of the cost of living. It's insane. So the tipping point, a studio out in California came to me and were like, can you help us with an identity and a look to kind of educate families about this issue? So they wanted to, basically they wanted to educate parents with young children about the fact that, like, you know, there could be a situation where there could be a charter school and classmates that go to school together. One could be well off or live in a nice house, and another classmate could be in a situation where they're in a homeless shelter or some type of assisted living situation. And so they wanted to educate kids and families about, like, just about like being a bigger person, and trying to reprogram people's concepts of the fact that, like, this is a situation that lots of people have to deal with, and just to kind of get them to understand, to be sympathetic to these people. So they kind of, the design studio kind of came to me as, like, said, hey, could we show a family being like kind of superheroes, or like they're heroic by just being good people, you know? And then it was kind of like, oh, that could be kind of cheesy, because like kids today are pretty sophisticated when it comes to like the look of things. So we didn't want to get too cheesy of comic books and stuff, but we wanted to give off the vibe that these people are heroic by being good people. So we had an idea of creating this family unit that was like just good people, and that they, you know, if their friend is, you know, in need of like resources that we take for granted, like food and shelter, that we're here to help them. And so this is a book I did with the tipping point, to kind of like, it was like a workbook that you sit down if you're the child, and you kind of get them on board with, like, okay, this is what being a good person is. Like, you have these capabilities to kind of help others. And so, you know, they supplied the copy. I just did the aesthetics, and then it was cool. I mean, it was a really cool process, rewarding. It was nice to do something that would hopefully help the community out there. And it's like, again, trying to stress the importance of taking action. Like, is there stuff that we can do? Are there things that we can give to our neighbors to kind of help them get through the week? So, you know, it's like the little things. And the other important thing with a project like this is like understanding, like when you do something, the thoughtfulness behind it, like the little things really matter. So
Scotty,
this is like, yeah.
on our end, we're just seeing your title slide. Have you
Oh,
been?
you serious?
Yeah.
All right. Oh man, I'm so sorry. All right. Do you see it now? Do you see something else now, or no? What do you see?
Yes, we see it now.
Okay. Oh
We see
man.
tipping point family.
Okay, great. All right. So, okay, so that's okay. So we started there. I was talking through this whole thing. All right, my bad. So that was the logo for the tipping point. That was a sketch I was talking about that was like kind of cheesy. And then this is the look we went with to kind of make the family look heroic. You guys see that now? Like, what do you see?
Yes,
Okay.
family with the text.
Okay, awesome, great. So that was just like a piece to give this whole thing kind of some context of my background. That was something I worked on. That was for the social good. Okay. All right. So student work, my class, Art 400, special topics. Students have to do a project that is an issue that they want to highlight, but then the second project we do this semester is something for the university. So these are examples of those projects. This is student work plus social good plus Westchester. So DCAP is the program here. Students on the autism spectrum work at the new Ram shop in town. And this project was to create a mural for the shop for the students that work there. And so all the students that work there in the DCAP program are all on the spectrum. And what I'm showing you right here is just one submission of like 6. And what was interesting about this is the fact that like the students that work there were really excited about having input on like what the design looked like. And it was kind of like, I think we had a 3-week period to kind of execute this thing from start to finish. And what was interesting is like how much input the students were willing to give. And they were like just so excited about the end result. So we actually submitted 6 designs, and then they got to vote on it. So they ultimately got to say in what they wanted to do. And here, like what we're looking at right now is a concept sketch for that mural. So this mural is on the back wall of the register there at the Ram shop. And what we did is we just kind of represent the campus, and we kind of showed different things, the feedback based we got on from talking to the students. My like it's basically like a competition within the class where my students go out, they do research, they kind of come back with sketches, and then they kind of execute those sketches after they present them to the client, which is in this instance, the DCAP students. So this is the sketch. And then this is the final executed graphics. And yeah, this one, again, they were all pretty excellent, but this one was the winner. And yeah, I mean, it was really fun and satisfying to see the students so happy that work there. So this is kind of like what it looks like. These are some close-up details of the design. And I think they were like important to them too, that we didn't do too many things that were like expected symbols of autism. Like the puzzle piece is kind of like the international symbol of autism, which we do put puzzle pieces in there here and there, but their input made it feel like much more original and unique to them. So they were very excited of the end results here. Another project my students got to work on, my class got to work on, was a mural for the resource pantry. The resource pantry, if you're not familiar, on campus is an office that kind of helps support students that are financially compromised, like basically can give students here like necessities like people might take for granted, like toiletries. They even like, they help with things like beyond the college, like career planning. Like they even like could lend students suits for interviews, but it's all kinds of things. It's just for a place for students that are financially strapped can go get the basic things that they need. And so the office there wasn't looking too great, and they kind of came to us and said, can we do something here to kind of bring up morale in the office to our workers, but then also when the students arrive, they're already kind of feeling like not very prideful. So we want to make them feel like at home, part of the Westchester community. And like this is just part of like life, what we're doing here. So this is a concept sketch, and this is one of, again, like 6 concepts. This is showing the office, and kind of like what we'll go in and make measurements and kind of collect information as far as like what the staff are looking for. That's always a part of it, a discovery phase. And then, so this is just what the office looks like. And then this is the end result. This is the design that was selected. Yeah, and the people that work there and the students that go there are really excited about it. It's pretty cool. So that was the resource pantry. This this is something I have to pick up the conversation with Brad again. Amy, I think you're in this one picture actually. This is the mural, the artwork for the Office of Sustainability. So this is yet to happen just because of COVID. But this is designed over a year ago, almost 2 years ago now. It's crazy to think that. But basically, my students, I think there was 4 submissions for this. There are teams of like 4 or 5 people working together to create a mural for the office for Brad's office, the Office of Sustainability. And the challenge here was the fact that we had to go up the staircase and around the corner. But we wanted to create graphics that kind of really kind of highlight the hallmarks of the initiatives that the Office of Sustainability is trying to execute, which is a lot. But I thought the students did a really good job with trying to create a concept for that. So we have this like vine work of all these different icons calling out all the different things that the office does. And yeah, so this is how this turned out. And I think too, what was like really key with this assignment, this is just a this is a fantasy right now. Did not happen. We want it to happen. This is Photoshop, the magic of Photoshop you're seeing right here. What was I going to say about this? What was really key to this, getting it to where it was the feedback from your office, Brad, from everyone there, kind of calling out like what things need to happen or change with the design. And yeah, I thought that turned out well. Keep going here. Yeah, yeah, so you can see that. It's from another angle. And then, as a lot of you are aware, just this past summer, Brad worked with Paige Carbonell, who's a senior GAID. GAID is a graphics, graphic art and interactive design. That's what the acronym stands for. She's a senior student. She's one of our, if not our best senior right now, strongest seniors. But she worked with Brad on the Commute of Care campaign. And as you can see, it's like, you know, I think there's a lot of consideration that goes into the look. Like you can see, like from all the designs I've shown you, like everything looks different. We really try to keep in mind the people that will be using this, frequenting the offices or like getting access to the information. Like we're trying to reach a certain audience. So we want to keep things feeling fresh and young, but then also like be true to like some of the colors that the university uses. And I thought Paige, I thought the collaboration was really good. So I thought she did a really good job. And I know you guys are really happy with it too. And then like with the time I have left here, I just want to show you like a few projects that my students did in the class. These don't necessarily have to deal with sustainability. But they do like a really nice job of kind of highlighting how like good design can kind of move an idea forward. So this piece from last year by Sarah Hasty, it's called Victors. And the project was, the topic that the student Sarah wanted to highlight was sexual assault and victims of it. And so she wanted to use a form of therapy called, or drama therapy, to kind of highlight highlight it as like a possible way to kind of help these women that were attacked. And so she called it Victors, drama therapy to help survivors conquer abuse. And then when we do these assignments, the student has to create, like they have the topic and then they have to make a logo. And then they take that logo. Yeah, Amy, I can't either. I just saw Amy on the chat there about the sustainability art. Yeah, I totally agree, Amy. We're gonna work on that. That's next. So this is Victor. So the students have to make like stationery. Like, so once they make like a logo, like things start to feel like it's real, like it starts to really come to life. So she made her concept, you have to make a logo, and then the students carry it, execute stationery. And then like what she wanted to do was she wanted to make an invitation for their first performance. And this is like an all-woman acting troupe that, you know, that is dealing with the drama therapy. So it was like all women actors would be playing the parts of Hamlet, which is pretty cool. And so she just made this like really beautiful invitation. But you can see, I mean, it all starts with this idea of these women surviving this horrible experience, and then, you know, making a logo, and then executing a logo on this invitation, really cool invitation. And like we work really hard too on the copywriting, as far as like making sure things sound like they would like in the real world. Like if this is like a real legitimate nonprofit, where's the information like of the shows? What I have the students do is like after they make a main deliverable, you know, she made tickets for the show, different like lanyards and pins. We even do t-shirts. So it's really thought out. I mean, it's really like the idea is for people to see this work and be like, wow, I could see this being like a real campaign. Like that's our goal. And then we finish up with making a website for this drama group. I'm just gonna show you two more pieces here. I know it's like 25 after here. This student, Chuck Scott, wanted to do a piece on literacy, encouraging young readers, because he struggled with reading when he was a young kid, and he wanted to do something that wasn't too like, he wanted to do something fun and fantastical, but nothing like too based on like, he wanted to do something original. He didn't want to do something based on a current existing character or comic book or graphic novel, whatever. So he created this thing called Torchlight. And the whole idea now, you know, where our audience for the last piece for Victor's is like young women that suffered abuse or were attacked. This is like dealing with like preteens, encouraging them to like, hey, like this is to motivate them to read more. And so he created like this kind of like night, this kind of reward system to this literacy campaign of like this kind of night and medieval feeling fantasy. So we start off with these posters. The readers would earn after they got they read so many books, like they would be rewarded with these like different like posters. Actually, they're out of order. It should be Squire. Like you read so many, you get Squire. And then you read some more, you get to be the level of the soldier. And then the final one, when you've achieved a high degree of literacy and expertise in reading, you become a knight, which is really cool. And then he created like bookmarks and application that goes with it is pretty cool. I just have one more thing to show you. It's Solace. It's turning tides for ALS student Morgan Faust, who I had 3 years ago. The first time I taught this class, she did a cruise line that catered to families that have an ALS sufferer, because ALS is such a debilitating condition that she wanted to make a cruise line that really catered to people that suffered from it and their families. So it has a whole nautical kind of aesthetic to it. And she created a itinerary planner for your time there. And she, again, it goes into great detail. Like we don't make, now these projects don't always have a ton of little pieces, but the projects the deliverables that do come out of it have a lot of thought. They pack a lot of punch. And so, yeah, she just made this like really, really complete, comprehensive itinerary packet for people that are staying on these ships, on these cruise lines. And then like everything kind of has like a nautical feel to it for the tickets, the business cards, everything to it. So, and then again, we build a website at the end of it to kind of like, the website is a need to kind of like reduce carbon footprinting. Instead of giving people some type of leaflet or pamphlet, it's like, you know, access the information here. And these are just examples of that. So that's it. So yeah, thanks.
Couldn't hear it, Scotty, but they're here in the room. I've unmuted us, and for those of you who are logged on via Zoom, please just speak up with questions. And when those of you here in person have a question, if you could get a little closer to the microphone. Okay, it looks like Cheryl has a question.
Well, I do, but I don't think it's like first priority, but I'll just ask, when you're teaching these classes, and this comes from me being the chair of the Sustainability Council's curriculum subcommittee and thinking about how classes like fit in to like larger curricular efforts with sustainability. And I know these aren't necessarily sustainability focused classes, but do you talk to your students like about what sustainability means, like its economic components and social and environmental, or
yeah,
do you let them understand it in their own way? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Like, it depends on if it's relevant, like, depends like what we're doing. But like in the instance, like I brought up at the end there with the website design, it's like, I try to stress the importance of getting them to reduce any type of unnecessary printing or use of resources that could end up in a landfill. Like we just talk about like the practicality of doing things in a manner, because we are able to with today's technology of like, okay, we don't have to make that. We can just like put it up there on social media, just in precise or exactly for the reason of like of environmental concerns. You know, if there is a student doing an environmental piece, yeah, I'll have that conversation with that student one-on-one. But like the students are doing such different topics, it just depends, you know, from student to student, like what they're trying to bring awareness to or what they're advocating for. So it depends.
Well, you know, I just think of the one about the, you know, the women's, you know, the
Mhm.
abused women's theater group.
Yeah.
I mean, part of when you think about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, like one of their key goals is like equality for women, right? And women's rights, because you can't have a sustainable society, right, without when half of your society, right, is living under oppression. And it has to do with like, you know, reproduction and population, all of that. And so I'm thinking that there might be a way to talk about sustainability more broadly, so they, you know, so your students understand that it's not just about, about the environmental. But
yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I'm sorry. At first I thought you were like focused in on environmental. No, you're absolutely right. Like that was a frustrating thing with the when we did the work for the RAM shop. I at first I don't think the students understood what was at stake as far as like the students themselves being on the spectrum were like, it was difficult. They were like kind of these walls that we had to knock down from the perspective of communication and appeasing someone that was kind of hard to communicate with. And and it wasn't like anyone's fault, but I think the students thought this was just going to be like a regular project that we would do for any office, and it wasn't, and that wasn't a problem. I mean, like my daughter is autistic, and as a father of a kid that has autism, like I actually remember getting really frustrated with my students, like being like, hey, not everyone is like you. Like, this is the real world. Like, we're not all 20 and don't have any cares in the world. Like, you guys have to get on board with the idea that you're not always going to be dealing with the same type of people. And so that was the education for them. I remember that day exactly going over there and being really upset because they didn't do quite what the students there asked, like the students, I think they felt like, oh, well, these are just students that work there. I don't know. I don't necessarily think the autism thing played a part in it. They just thought these are students giving us feedback. What's the big deal? But to me, it was very important, so it depends. Like, but you're right. Like, I mean, like these issues are for these different topics that these students do I make sure that they're personal. Like, I'm like, if it's not personal, you're not going to have passion for it. So make sure you do something from the heart, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, I was curious about the process in terms of how you develop projects for the different departments around campus. Like, I can think of two off the top of my head that I know would greatly benefit from something like this. And one being the counseling center, and the other one being, actually, it's my major, but I'm a ruckus major. I know I'm looking for like a rebranding and a new logo, but I was just curious as to like how do these projects come about? Can you talk about the process a little bit?
Yeah. Well, the former chair, Peggy Hill, who graduated, she retired 2 years ago. She was like, she knew a lot of people in the university, had lots of friends all over that just kind of came to her and said, hey, do you have an art student that can help me here? Or do you have some designers that could help us with this project? So she would get inquiries. And so when I started teaching, she had like a bunch of people that were kind of like queued up that needed assistance with different projects. So, and then like this year, I kind of just went to like Dean Bacon and to different people and were like, hey, do you guys have any graphic needs? So it's kind of a random thing. But yeah, I'm always kind of looking for projects to do for the students for like this semester is almost over, but and this class is only taught in the fall, but that's something that, yeah, I mean, if you know of anything, let let us know.
I just went into the office the other day, finally for the first time, and because it's all about taking the stigma away from like mental health and all that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, all they have on the wall is that, like, I forget what it is, those generic 3 words like love, live, breathe, or
Yeah. Mm.
But like, we could really do better than this. And just seeing the examples that you shared, it's like, wow, it would really go a long way. So I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. Like my class, or that I have to do a better job of, is making awareness of the fact that we can do this for different offices on campus. It's like kind of like a word of mouth right now thing. But yeah, there's something that, even like I've asked like students that work on different places on campus, like if you work in an office like this that you think would benefit from like a facelift or a rebranding, like we'd be more than happy to help. Yeah.
Hi, Scotty.
Hey, Kate.
Hey,
Hey, Kate. How's it going?
good. How are you?
Good.
Good. I wonder if, and I think we both have had experiences with this, just being an artist and, you know, kind of balancing that, like, clients and, you know, timelines and stuff. I guess if you could maybe talk a little bit about how you actually kind of teach students to understand that their time is valuable. Maybe that's all you say, but just that, you know, if people find out you're an artist, they want you to do a mural all the time. Like everybody, if like we could all be like completely busy with it, right?
Yeah.
But it takes so long. Like it's like you're teaching the client how the process works while you're doing the process.
Yeah.
And I wonder how you teach your students about that, because they're hungry, they want work.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
think that there's this important aspect to, which I think is also part of sustainability, right? Like not knowing what you can handle and also making sure there's a
Yeah.
balance of voices and work and a consideration of time. I'm just, this is
Yeah.
I don't know where my question is, but it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with that. Yeah, like, and it's like, that's probably the biggest benefactor of doing something for a real client on campus, is the fact that they need it done by a certain time, and that they have certain things that they want achieved in the design. So the students can't be too, they have to make sure that they're achieving the goals of they're solving the visual problems that the client, or in this instance, like the office on campus wants. So it's a give and take, and then like right away they understand like this isn't a regular project, which is good. Like they, like, you know, with the office, with the Ram shop, that was definitely that way. Where they kind of came back to us and the students were scratching their heads. And then, you know, it was like I was talking about, like, hey, these, you know, these people like have things that they want. And with like Brad's office too, like you guys were like, Amy was part of that conversation. Like that was a really helpful dialogue that, you know, like it taught the students like the give and take of collaboration. But then, you know, like at the end of the day, like Kate, to your point, it's like, well, this has to get done by a certain amount of time. And because it does, and it's like a lot of work, we have to work together, you know? So the teams are always like 3-4 people. And that's, I mean, I think the biggest mistake I've ever made as an instructor is like having teams that are too big, you know, like where there's always like someone who's not doing enough. It just happens. It's like unfortunate, or they think they are, but they're not. So yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, but it does get them to understand. I mean, that's a good thing that you bring up about like burnout, and that you have to get compensated, and you know that in a real world situation there would be a budget and allotted time. You know, these are things that we definitely talk about. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Scotty, thank you for sharing all of these examples of your work. It's helpful for me, I think for Amy too, to see how you've worked with other offices, knowing how you collaborated with us. And I think my question kind of touches on all of the questions we've heard so far. I wonder if it would be possible to sort of estimate your learning objectives for the students in the class in terms of the creative and the design skills, the teaching them about the process of working with clients and communicate to clients how they can provide information that will contribute to a successful project. And then the third part that I'm curious about is an issue Cheryl touched on. How much do you want the students to come away with content information about the topic that they're designing for. Because
Mhm.
I'm assuming that the students who worked on the mural for our office left with a stronger understanding of the definition of sustainability and the types of initiatives that connect to that. So
Yeah.
those creative and design skills, the process of working with clients, and the content of the topic they're working on. Is there a way to sort of estimate
To
your perspectives for them?
to like quantify that, you mean? Like to kind of get
I mean, what's the priority for you as an instructor working with
the priority is like to get them to do something to solve the visual problem. Like that's the first, because like when we do the work, like the mural work, the environmental art for the campus, it's at the end of the term, and it's kind of like everything that goes into that like final piece is kind of the culmination of like that collaboration. I guess like there kind of isn't where there isn't now in the course is like a comprehensive like kind of summary of what was achieved. It's more like, here are the designs, what do you think, here's the feedback, there's a presentation to it, and then like a delivery of the final art, and that's kind of like where it is. But I mean, I kind of feel like through the whole process, the students get what they need. As far as like understanding what they're doing and why they're doing it, like it's all very intentional. But no, I mean, those are good thoughts for sure. Like kind of including that, like kind of having them answer those questions would be good. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. Any other questions on this end? Kelsey, Kurt, Amy, any final questions for Scotty?
Hey,
No
Kurt.
questions, just always impressed to see all of your students work. It's just so professional that it's easy to forget that they're
Yeah.
actually just students.
They're really, yeah, I mean, really fortunate to work with some really talented students for sure. I mean, yeah. And then the thing too that comes through with the stuff for the college is they always take a lot of pride in it. So yeah.
All right, well, I would like to thank you, Scotty, on behalf of the Office of Sustainability, Research and Sponsored Programs, and the Sustainability Council Scholarly and Creative Activities Committee. This has been a fantastic addition to the talks in this series, and we're grateful for you for making time and sharing this work with us.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do it. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right, thanks.